There's a lot of things online, and it's hard to know what's really true. But I definitely saw online somewhere, because I couldn't have made this thing up in a million years. Ivanka Trump's mother, Ivana Trump, she said the reason why Donald Trump married her, Ivanka Trump's mother, Ivana Trump, said the reason why Donald Trump married Ivana Trump is because he couldn't get over her Czechoslovakian accent. And then 13 years later, he divorced her because he couldn't stand her Czechoslovakian accent. Let me explain to you the deeper meaning behind this. As you go through life, this age, sometimes you fall in love with certain characteristics you might see in a different personality, and to understand what that means and how that makes sense. We know that it says that if a person wants to be a Hasid, to be a righteous person, if a person wants to be a Hasid, he should improve, the Gemara says, in Milid and Nizikin. He should improve in the subjects of damages. And then the Gemara says, you know what? No. He should improve in the subjects of Avot. Avot is a lot of ethics, character. And this is no. Another opinion says different thing a person should do to be a Hasid. He should improve in what? In brachot. Now I could understand, you see a guy praying brachot, tefillah, amidah, he's taking every word seriously. This guy looks like a pretty good Hasid to me. Or you have somebody else that he's working on his avot, his characteristics. You say, this guy looks like a Hasid to me, right? But how does it make sense that a person who's working on nizikin, on not causing damage to somebody else, he's a Hasid? He's a Hasid? How does that make sense? You know, there was a big mahloket if the yeshiva boys who are learning Gemara should take out time to learn Musar. A big mahloket. And the great Baruch Ber would say, the greatest Sefer Musar is Baba Kama. Learn how not to damage your friend, and you'll be a Hasid. So, we have to understand, the question is, what makes a person a Hasid? Amen. Why would we say that what makes a person as a Hasid is not causing damage to another person? I would say that a Hasid is somebody who's doing barachot properly, or a person who is doing avot, character improvement properly. These guys are Hasid. But to tell me that a guy who's careful from not doing damages, that's a Hasid? How does that make sense? There's many other financial issues that we could say. Guy doesn't take rebate. Oh, he's a Hasid. No. The Hasid is somebody who doesn't cause damage to another person. Doesn't make sense. The explanation is,
doesn't damage him.
Netivot Shalom says something unbelievable. Did anybody here ever learn Baba Kama? Raise your hand. The beginning?
Right now.
You learn Baba Kama? Learn Baba Kama? The beginning. First page. Arba Avot Nizikin. There are 4 major categories of damagers, right? Hashor, Habor, Hamave, Vahever. Shor is what? An ox. A boar is what? A pit. Hamave. What's mave?
Fire.
Mave is a tooth, right? And what's hever? Fire. These are the 4 Avot Nizikin. Comes the Netivot Shalom and says something unbelievable. He says, you know what short is? The Gemara and other places we find that short stands strong. You ever see an ox? An ox walks tall. He has a puffed up chest. The ox. This short is symbolic, is iconic for haughtiness. Haughtiness. You know, some people have a problem of haughtiness. There's another one of the Nizikim we said is bor. Bor is a pit. What is bor in characteristic iconic to? Somebody who is humble, Somebody who's overly humble, low self-confidence, what we call in Hebrew shiflut. So one of the damages is a person who has low self-esteem, a bore. Another one of the damages we said is maveh, is the tooth. You see, there are people, what does a tooth represent of a damaging characteristic? The tooth is representing people who have bad eating habits. They eat what we call emotional eating. They don't eat nutrition. Everything they want, fast food. You know, I feel very bad. I'm looking into different foods that are very, very unhealthy. Number one is Doritos. Naco flavor. Then I said, ChatGPT, give me something that's more unhealthy. He said, what's more unhealthy? The Ramo tradition noodle soups. More unhealthy. I said, what else is unhealthy? He says, hot dogs, unhealthy. He didn't even say chocolate. Listen to this. He says, the hot dogs are unhealthy. I said, what else is unhealthy? Worse than that. You know what he says, guys? Frozen baked pizza. You see, sometimes you eat things.
We're not getting it anymore?
I don't know. Because sometimes you have inside the frozen baked pizza, they put there and the wheat takes out all the good stuff that the wheat has to offer you. All the good nutrition is not there for you. So what do? We want emotional eating. We want to eat now, fast. We don't want to prepare our food to have good nutritious wheat, to have good nutritious drinks, good nutritious fruits. And what are we doing? Everything is fast. Look at the whole supermarket. 80% of the stuff that's in the supermarket is processed, is not healthy, not natural, right? And then we wonder why we're not healthy. Hey, come around. And we wonder why we're not healthy. So what's another one of the mazikim we said that's going to hold you back from being a hasid? We said number one is haughtiness. Number two is a low self-esteem, a damaged ego. And the next one we said is what? Is hamave, is the tooth, is a person's bad eating habits, emotional eating. And the fourth is fire. What's fire? Fire is ta'avot. You have people that they have a ta'avah so strong, it gets the person all fired up, and he doesn't know how to stop the fire. You tell somebody that stop looking at those inappropriate things. You see, the fire is too strong already. You can't put out such a fire anymore. You see, you have to put out the fire when it's small. Don't even have the fire access to kids. Because when the kid has it, once the person has the fire out of control, now you tell them to stop it. It's like a train going 1,000 miles an hour over the cliff. Oh, stop the train. You can't stop it anymore. Esh is fire, ta'avot is fire. That's when somebody wants to fight his Yetzer Hara, he's supposed to say, Esh tamid tukad al mizbeach, lo tichbeh. The fire will always be in the mizbeach. He has ta'avot Yetzer Hara. He says, it's pasuk, it's magic to stop the Yetzer Hara. So says the Shla. So the 4 avot nizikin are not just avot nizikin. These 4 avot nizikin, we said, is the secret to becoming a hasid. How so? Because these 4 things are characteristics and natural tendencies that we have, that we all could have. Some of us, some have more, some have less. Each one knows their personality. I could probably tell you according to your signatures, which one is your dominant one, according to your faces, like which one is your dominant one. And then if we understand how that is, then we understand how we have to fight that. So what does it mean to be a hasid? It means to improve in mizikin, not just in berachot, not just in avot, but to improve in your character, understanding who you are, your nature. Don't ever underestimate your natural instincts, your natural aptitudes, we call in strength psychology. We have in this week's parasha, we spoke about before about Donald Trump's first wife, Ivana Trump. We said that she said somewhere on the internet, I for sure saw it. They say now it's not true, but she for sure says, Donald Trump married me because he couldn't get over my Czechoslovakian accent. And 13 years later, he divorced me because he couldn't stand my Czechoslovakian accent. Now, I want to tell you something about basar v'chalav. I'll explain now. We say in our parasha, you're not allowed to have meat and milk together. Now, it's very strange. Basar, you can have the best kosher meat, the best hechsher, edah haredit. You have halav, you have milk, the most kosher milk, edah haredit. You take these 2 things together, big problem. We never find in the Torah that you take one thing that's mutar and you take something else that's mutar, you put it together, and it's a problem. Except for what? Shanez. Shanez, you can't take the wool and you can't take the linen and put it together. Why? Because it's symbolic to something. Why can't you take wool and put it together? Because the first time wool and linen came together, there was an explosion. What was the first time? Cain was the owner of all of the real estate, all of the flax, all of the land, the linen. And Hevel was the one in charge of all the lamb, all the livestock. They split the world in half. So that means when he brought the sheep and he had the wool, that caused an explosion between the brothers, caused the first fight. And because wool of the sheep doesn't go well with the flax, with the linen together, so therefore Shahanes is Asur. Why? The Zohar says because these two things go together, with first explosion. Unless you're in the place of the Beit HaMikdash, in the Beit HaMikdash you can have wool and linen together. Right?
Kohen is allowed to wear.
Kohen is allowed to wear. Why? Because in the place of a mitzvah, also it's a seat, wool and linen together you can wear. But when it comes to basar v'halav, meat and milk, never. They can never go together. Why not? Because meat and milk, meat, the representation of meat is gvura, strength, passion, toughness, red. That's what red, do you see red? That's what red is. But on the other hand, white, what is white? Soft. You see a kala, what does a kala wear? It's much more attractive, woman who's soft. White.
White nails.
White nails, classy, social is white. So the red and the white are two opposite natures. The two extreme different natures. You can't even cook the red and the white together. Why? Because you're taking the gevurah and you're taking the hesed and you're putting them together, there's going to be an explosion. An explosion. You see, the Torah doesn't want us to take the opposite natures and mix them and make them pink. It wants that red is going to be red, and there's goodness in red, and there's goodness in white. And the fact that they're two opposites doesn't mean that they can't love each other. It doesn't mean that they can't get along with each other. Love is not when there's exactly the same. We know opposites attract. And the fact that the person's another nature than me, and that I'm able to complement that nature, that is what love is. The love is when two different things that are not the same work together. Not if they're both the same, not two right hands, right hand, left hand. The midata gevura, midata hesed work together, and that's what makes this such a beautiful relationship. So in other words, what unity means, it doesn't mean that we're all one. We want males to be males, females to be females. We're not trying to make it that they're totally annulled. And that's why you have to know, in understanding how to get along with people, to understand this brilliant concept we're saying now. You have to know that when you don't get along with somebody, you don't realize what is your strong nature coming forward here that's sticking out that you're not getting along with this person. Is it because you're a shor? Is it because you have holiness? Maybe it's because that person has holiness. Holiness could be good too. Bor means low self-esteem. That could also sometimes mean humility. So different people have different characteristics. And in order for a person to be a Hasid, he needs to understand that that person is, I'm not going to change him for me to get along. Because unity doesn't mean that we're one. Unity means that there's harmony. What is harmony? What is art? Art is black and white. You can't make an art with only black. An art has to be harmony, is a beautiful blend between different colors that don't necessarily match. And that's the same thing true about harmony. What is harmony? Is different instruments, not all playing drums. Different instruments that are working together nicely. And that's the secret of being a Hasid, is knowing the other person's nature and not trying to destroy it, not trying to overcome it, not trying to limit it, not trying to control it, but to appreciate it. And that's what it means to be a Hasid. Amen.